I think we're ready to begin. You saw me look at the camera, used to be over there, now you're over here. Okay, so I ran a poll 17 hours ago. I asked if y'all wanted me to do a video on the EU AI Act. Man, God, names. Got to get better with names. I'm good with acronyms. Come to me for acronyms. Gato, Gaia, Aegis. Okay, anyways. So y'all were confused about what I meant by Haas, which is something from here in the South. Basically, Haas means just something big, right? It's short. It's a Southern dialect for horse, or in particular, a big horse. So this document is a Haas because look how freaking long it is. It just keeps going. So I plugged it in over here, and it is 70,000 tokens long. So even if I had access to GPT-4 32K, which I did briefly, and then they revoked it, I think they got overwhelmed. Because I used it, I tried to use GPT 432K on a couple things, and it was just like, server is overloaded, anyways. So hopefully I get that back. But the idea there would be I could read it and chop it up into maybe 4 sections, 3 or 4 sections, and read the whole thing. But we don't have that. And I do have GPT 3.5 Turbo 16K 0613. So this model is actually super, super steerable. It is actually better than original GPT-4 at a lot of things. It's still kind of dumb, especially if the instructions are too complex. But as long as you give it just one task, GPT 3.5 Turbo 0613, the June 13th model, is more than adequate for most things. Now, that being said, because I'm interpreting legalese and I'm doing summarization, I'm going to use 04.613. So the instructions that I gave it just now, and I know that I'm ready to start the video. Primary purpose. Let me zoom in a little bit. The primary purpose, or the following is a chunk of legislation. Your job is to summarize this legislation with 2 primary goals. 1, drastically reduce the word count, and 2, retain enough context that it will still make sense. The reason for this is that current AI technology can only read chunks that are so big. Method, the user will give you a chunk of legislation via chat. Your response must only be the summarized version. Do not chat with the user, engage with them, or offer any other commentary. Summarize only. So I copied the first 100 lines of the legislation into here, and this is what it spit out. So it took all that and just said, okay, this is what it means. So the first 100 lines, which you can see here, so we've got 344,000 characters, 3,665 lines of stuff to go through. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm not AI explained. That dude just y'all are impressed with how much work I can do. I'm impressed with how much that dude can read. Just honestly, maybe he uses ChatGPT. I don't know. Anyways, if you're watching, it's just a joke. Okay. So anyways, so ultimately, basically that first 100 lines was summarized and condensed down to: the European Commission proposes a regulation for harmonized rules on artificial intelligence, aiming to balance the socio-economic benefits of AI with potential risks. The proposal seeks to ensure AI systems are safe, respect fundamental rights, provide legal certainty for investment and innovation, enhance governance, and prevent market fragmentation. So it says nothing about existential risks or prevent AI from killing everyone. It's sort of implicit because if AI kills everyone, you can't have investment and innovation, but I would rather see legislation that is explicit. It proposes a risk-based approach prohibiting certain harmful AI practices and setting requirements for high-risk AI systems. Okay, cool. We'll see how they define that later. The proposal also establishes a governance system at member state level and a European Artificial Intelligence Board at union level. Okay, cool. So this is going to be an international regulator. Great. It is consistent with existing union legislation and policies, including data protection, consumer protection, non-discrimination, and gender equality. So these are all very low-level risks. None of this is actually talking, when they say high risk, they're probably meaning the social credit system that is used in China, which that is a high risk, but it is not the highest risk. The proposal is based on Article 114 of the Treaty of the Functioning of the European Union, the TFEU, which ensures the establishment and functioning of the internal market. Okay, so this is mostly a market-oriented piece of legislation. Great. So we know that this works. So let's go ahead and save this out. I'm going to walk you through the whole process. And then yeah. So this is how we're gonna proceed. For those of you that are newer to my channel, this is actually the original format that I used, where I would walk you through the entire process. So just watch it on 2x, and you'll see the whole process of how I approach these things. So we'll call this system summarize yes.text. And so basically, I give it a system message with very, very clear instructions, and what I expect, and what it should expect, and then it gives you very clear, consistent results. So then we come over to step one, simplify. So this is I'm borrowing code, which I always do. So we've got this. So this is what we're going to use to do that. This is a KB service that I'm working on, so I'll show you that in an upcoming video. But you don't get to see that yet. We don't need KB functions, so delete that. Flask routes, we're not going to do a Flask app, so that's also fine. Actually, I guess I just delete most of it. Okay, cool. So we get rid of Flask because we're not going to do that. We're not going to do threading. We don't need Flask or logging or JSON or YAML. Okay. Clean it up. I probably should have done that before I started the video, but it's good to it's good for you to see how messy my process is. I am the first person to tell you I am not a professional developer. I never was. My professional background was I was in virtualization and automation. So I'm an automation engineer, which is why I approach things the way that I do, which is creating discrete steps. So you notice the title of this is Step 1, Simplify. Okay, cool. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to ask this handy dandy coding chatbot that I built, which you can use this. It is available over here. I had a bunch of people submitting pull requests, and they kept trying to like change the way that this thing works, so I just set it to public archive. So here's the thing is I welcome pull requests that are like simple fixes or small improvements. Don't refactor my code, just fork it, right? Like there's 19 forks. If you want to fundamentally change how it works, fine. But I got tired of people messing up my code, so I just set it to public archive. And guess what? Like people, you can still do whatever you want with it. Anyways, so we're going to use this as a co-pilot tool because I got frustrated with GitHub because their Copilot customer service, whatever, documentation is garbage. Okay. Let's see. I have, here, let's just write a function that accepts a gigantic string and returns, let's see, splits it by lines and then chunks 100 lines together and returns those chunks as strings. So the final result will be a list of strings. Each string represents 100 lines of the original. Okay, so this is my coding chatbot assistant that it also uses GPT-4. I tried it. You can actually switch it to oh, it's using the old one. Hold on now. I need to update that. Hold on. That's the wrong model. Coding chatbot assistant. See, this is what I mean is someone updated it. Oh no, my local one uses the right one. So someone updated it with the wrong model and made a bunch of other assumptions, and I was just like, no, this is not what I wanted. Okay. So, here we go. Here's the function Python chunk strings lines equals split. Oh wow, it did it in 2 lines. Cool. This function's first splits the string into lines using the delimiter. Then it uses a list comprehension to create chunks of 100 lines each. The range, yep, the result is a list of strings. Cool. Excellent. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this out. Oh, and another good thing is that, well, yeah, you see how it works. All right, so we'll go ahead and do that. So chunk strings. So first, we want to just act equals open file, and I've got it named as act.text, just right here. Yep. Oh, and also this, excuse me, this uses a scratch pad. So what I can do is I can actually populate the code that I'm working on over here. So now it's aware of what I'm working on. So this scratch pad is a holdout. So rather than giving it the code in sequence, the coding chatbot actually has it has, here, let me show you the system message. So here's the instructions. You are a Python coding assistant. Let me turn on word wrap. You are a Python coding assistant, et cetera, et cetera. Scratch pad. So it basically tells you the scratch pad is usable, so that you know what the user is working on, so that you can talk about this. And this is passed to the chatbot every time. So whatever the conversation is, like that is in the past. I don't know if I'm explaining that well. Anyways, point being is that it can see the code that you're working on as long as you keep this updated. Okay, so that's the first 100 lines. Let's go ahead and see, where did it go? Step 1, simplify. Cool. So act equals that, and then we'll say chunks equals, let's see, chunk string act. All right, so this basically creates the chunks that we're going to be working on. And that is that. Let's see. I'm going to need to watch this because, well, here, let me just show you something real quick. So the first 100 lines, if we take that over to Playground and paste it in here, you see that 100 lines is about 4,000 tokens. So that would obviously be too big for Text DaVinci 03. But with GPT-4, we have 8,000 tokens, and then with 3.5 16K, we have 16,000 tokens. So we could actually probably do more. But the thing is that, again, 3.5 turbo is... Actually, you know what? Let's try it real quick. Heck with it. While we're here, let's go back over to chat. Let's give it this chunk, because if I can do it faster and cheaper, why not? And then we need, this is our system message. We need to make sure that we're going to use 3.5 turbo 16K so that it's got enough space. Okay, turn the temperature down. We do not want you to be creative. Thank you very much. All right, and then let's see how well it summarizes it. Yeah, so it's not, this summarization is not nearly as elegant or as concise. But just glancing at it, it's okay. I think I'm going to stick with 4, but I'm glad I did this side by side. So the GPT-4, it's a much more elegant summary, and it's also less wordy, even though, so it's not quite as fast and it's not quite as cheap. Because we need to capture the essence of something that's really important, let's use the smarter model. Now, that being said, again, 3.5 turbo, the June 13th one, plenty good for a lot of things. Okay, cool. So I'm glad I ran that test. Where are we? What am I doing? I don't know. I'm lost. I'm always lost. There's this meme. It's like a pug in a field with a wizard hat. And it says, the meme is like, not all who wander are lost, except Dave. Dave is lost as fuck. And that's me. I am the pug with a wizard hat. Does that make any sense? I need more coffee. Okay. All right. I hope you find this entertaining, because I just woke up and I was like, my brain's like, hey, we should work on this. All right. Now we're back here. All right. We've got our chunks. So now what we need to do, so this is where it gets fun. So, for chunk in chunks, this is super straightforward. Let's see. Messages equals, this is going to be a list, and then the role will be, whoops, user, and the content. Wow, I know how to type, I promise. It's just getting it from my head to the hands on the keyboard to the screen. That's too many steps right now. Content equals chunk. Okay, cool. So basically what we're doing right here is we're setting it up to look exactly like this. So I'm putting the chunk in here, and then we also need to load the system message. So what we're going to do is we're going to do system equals open file system underscore summarize. So this is the instructions. Dot text. So system message is the new prompt engineering. All right, cool. So then we'll do role system, and content is system. All right, so now we're ready to pass it up to our model right here. So then we'll just do response equals chatbot messages. Ta-da, it's that simple. So it's ready, and so this response is going to be the summary. And so now I need to figure out how I want to save these summaries out in a way that makes sense. Let's see. Let me ask my chatbot assistant. Okay, cool. Great. Now I want to pass a list of strings to a function and have that function save them to a specified folder as a parameter. And I want it to serialize those files like so. So it'll be like file 001.txt, file 0002.txt, and so on. Let's see. You should see the script I'm working on. All right, cool. So then we're gonna have summaries equals list, and then summaries dot append response. So now basically we're gonna have the summaries all in order. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy and paste this into my Scratchpad so that the chatbot knows what I'm working on. And I'll show you how that, it says, oh, okay, cool. I probably should have told it that I'm gonna do that with the summaries. It's usually pretty good at making the inference. Okay, cool. Let's see, def save strings. If OS path exists, or if it doesn't exist, make it, otherwise enumerate strings. So as long as I've been using Python, I'm not entirely sure how enumerate works. Maybe I should ask. All right, but let's go over here. Let's go back to my script. Save strings, cool. File I05, interesting. Yeah, see, I'm not even sure how that works. Fantastic. Let's see if it works though. The function first checks if the specified folder exists. Excellent. Then it uses it to make it. Then iterates over the list of strings using enumerate, which provides both the index and the value. Oh, okay, so that's what enumerate does. The index is used to generate the file name with I:05 in the F string, ensuring that the index is 0 padded to 5 digits. Well, that was easy. Cool. Right, and then it uses the write method. Yeah, so instead, I was hoping it would use my save file, but that's fine. So let's go to here, and we're going to do summaries. And so instead, we're going to assume that that is already there. And then we are going to do file path equals OS path join folder. Yeah, that works. And then we are going to do save file, because so my save file function encodes it in UTF-8. So just reuse something rather than do it here, because you see this doesn't do it in UTF-8. You want to make sure that you have a nice standardized thing. That's what I'm doing here. File path and S. So that should be good. Fine. All right, so save strings. So then we do save strings. We'll do summaries. No, I need to do, yes, summaries and then summaries. And that should work. Now, that being said, I want to print the response as I get them. There we go. And then response. All right, let's give this a whirl and see if it works. CD, what is this? EU AI Act. Let's zoom in a little bit. Python step 01. So this will probably take a while because we've got 3,000 line, 3,300 lines. There we go. Cool. Hold on. Oh, right. Forgot about this. Okay, so this is an important thing. What I started doing, and I forgot to integrate this. So what I started doing is whenever I call the chatbot, I return the text and the token use. So because this is actually really helpful if you just go ahead and return the tokens so that you know when to summarize it. So instead, what I need to do is response tokens because I don't need to save a tuple out here. But this otherwise looks good. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go grab something to make the printout look a little bit better. Reflective journaling tool. This one has good pretty output. So we're going to do formatted lines. Yep. So take the formatted lines here. And then we'll do print new line, and formatted lines. All right, so that'll make it prettier, and then we'll also use. So this is why I appreciate when people add feedback. Is we added someone added the halo, which is a little like thing that shows that it's thinking. So I'm going to add that real quick as well. And the way that you use that is down here. And so once this is running, I'll pause the video so you don't have to watch the whole thing. So you're actually probably closer to the end, if I had to guess. Oops, spinner start. So we'll say summarizing next chunk. And then spinner stop. Okay, so let's try this, make sure it works. Summarizing next chunk. Hey, look, now it gives us some output. Better user experience. It tells me what it's doing. Text wrap is not defined. Whoops. What do you mean I need to import everything that you use? Import text wrap. Let's try that again. Third time's a charm. All right, and if this works, then I'll go ahead and pause it, and then we'll come back once the whole video is, or once the whole thing is done. Why is it in, hold on. That's not right. Why are you giving me this garbage? That's not correct. Oh, right, I need to print out formatted text. My bad. Don't give me this nonsense. Because basically what you want to do is you want to have it formatted in such a way. There we go. See, so now we have this nice little block. It's easier to read. All right, cool. So this is working. We'll watch it just a couple times. You see how fast it is? The June 13th update is much faster. Let's see. Excellent. So I'm going to pause the video and we'll come back and take a look at the final result. Cheers. Okay, and we're back. So after running it all, here, let me just show you what the results were. We've got 37 files, each with a summary. And I wrote I hacked together a really quick script that merged them all. And so the merged result is 34,000 characters long. So we reduced it by a factor of 10 to 1, just shy of 10 to 1, which when you plug that in over here, that's 6,000 tokens. So we went from 60,000 or 70,000 tokens, I don't remember exactly, to 6,000 tokens. One of the reasons that we had a more drastic reduction of token count is because we removed all the serial numbers and stuff, because that's kind of superfluous. If you remove symbols and stuff like this, these are high token things. If it's ordinary words like AI and each system, these are easy for the model to tokenize. So that means what we can do now is we can just take this whole thing and come over to chat and say, let's see, main purpose. Here, darn it, delete that. You are a chatbot tasked with discussing the following legislation with the user. Make sure to well, hell, that's all it is. Use the legislation summary below to conduct the conversation, and that's it. And so then we'll say legislation summary, and we'll copy paste it here. And so then we move over to, we could do 16K because that'll be faster. Actually, here, let's try that real quick. Let's try that temperature there. Okay. Give me a high level overview of this legislation. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, cool. We'll renew after 5 years. How is it funded? Let's see. The funding and the implementation of this legislation comes from the multi-annual financial framework. Blah, 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 blah. The financial impact includes allocation of resources. And having watched it go through, how many employees will it cost? There we go. 10 full-time equivalent employees. All right. So we can clear that out. Just because it ultimately is superfluous. So some of the questions, let's see, will this legislation hamper research and innovation? Let's see. The legislation aims to balance the benefits of AI research and innovation with the need for safety and respect for fundamental rights. It includes measures to support innovation, such as AI regulatory sandboxes and reducing the regulatory burden on SMEs and startups. So that SMEs are going to be subject matter experts like you and I, as well as startups. The goal is to provide legal certainty and prevent market fragmentation, which can actually foster innovation by creating a level playing field for AI developers. However, it imposes certain requirements and obligations on high-risk AI. How does this legislation define high-risk AI? Let's see. This legislation categorizes AI systems into 3 risk levels: unacceptable, high, and low or minimal. High risk AI is based on their intended purpose and usage. While the specific criteria may vary, high risk AI generally include those used as safety components of products covered by union harmonization legislation, as well as AI used in critical infrastructure management, education, vocational training, employment, and workers management. These high risk AI systems are subject to requirements. What are unacceptable types? The legislation prohibits certain AI practices that are considered unacceptable due to their potential to violate fundamental rights. While the specific types may vary, some examples include manipulate human behavior, exploit vulnerabilities, or enable social scoring by public authorities. Right. So, as I mentioned, social credit system. These practices are deemed harmful. Freedom, dignity, democracy, equality, and fundamental rights. Okay, cool. Does this legislation address existential risk at all? Does it address autonomous AI? The legislation does not explicitly address existential risk or autonomous AI systems. Wow. Okay. Now, one thing that I will say is that if you look at the legislation, it does talk about like basically human supervision. Yeah, so like AI regulatory sandbox by one or more member states is no, like here. Where was it? It talked about not supervision of the sandboxes, but like AI systems basically need to be steerable. It's in there somewhere. Okay. But let's see. It does not specifically address the potential risk associated with highly autonomous or superintelligent AI systems that could pose existential threats. However, the legislation's emphasis on risk management, human oversight, oh, that's what it was, oversight, not supervision, and robustness requirements for high-risk AI systems indirectly contributes to addressing the safety concerns associated with AI technologies. It is important to note that addressing existential risks related to AI may require further research, discussions, and potentially additional regulations in the future. Okay, cool. So there you have it. This file is saved as merged.txt. Let me go ahead and send that up to Git so that you can all use it. Let's see, Git status, Git add, Git commit AM, all done. Git push. All right, so there you have it. You have a much condensed version of the EU Act here and merged. You can plug it into the playground and ask questions to your heart's content if you have access to it. But otherwise, you can at least just read it here. Yeah, I think we're all done. Thanks for watching.